Hello everyone, my name is JK. In this video I'll tell you all the tips and tricks you'll need to get through Elite Dungeon. I will include legends as well as free heroes, so you'll be able to follow this whole guide even if you're VIP 0. I'll put time steps down below so you can swap to any part you need if you're already confident enough for one stage, for example. So you can find the parts you need easier, or maybe if you go back and want to watch one specific part again. First, let's talk about why Elite Dungeon is so important. Now, obviously, when you unlock it on level 95, you want to reach stage 80 as soon as possible, so you can reforge all your equipments. Reforging equipments will help you a lot, because it'll give you a lot of power, and in general, it allows you to activate 2 equipments at once, which can be very helpful at times. Once you reach stage 80 though, don't be lazy. You still want to keep pushing, because on level 103 you will unlock Equipment Core. Now, you won't be able to reach stage 170 yet. That one is required to max out your cores. You won't get there before you reach 103, but you should aim to get at least to stage 125 before you reach it. Example was about at stage 141 when I got 103. I know it because I got there very recently. Using all my materials I farmed up to that point, I gained about 30k power in one day, that is. After a while you can still obviously farm more, get more. Also you need all the heroes to red 1, so that takes a bit, but all in all that was my one day power gain, which was quite nice already. Now let's jump to the different stages and how to beat them. I will name the stages by their canonical names. You can find them when you click on the tower in the middle of your current stage, but I will also explain how each stage works, so it should be clear which stage I'm talking about just from the context. In the protection stage, the game occasionally spawns in little soldiers. You need to keep them alive, because if 3 of them die, you lose this stage. Now, the stage is arguably one of the easiest, as you don't need to do anything really. You can just wait until the time is over, and you don't need to kill any of the enemies. If the time's over and less than 3 soldiers have died, you'll still win the stage. Now, to keep the soldiers alive, you want to use supports and tanks with heals, shields or taunts. Good options here are Leon, Malaki, Ingrid or Arai. For legends, Neza, Flint, Ariel, Pyre or Listia. But there are many more options. Those are just the ones that came to mind first to me. Literally anything that has a heal or shield or taunt will work. You can also help yourself out with some equipment, such as Ethereal Shield or a Cold Shield, Dragon Whistle or Dragon Flute, and lastly also Sebastian Shield or Kingdom Shield will help you slightly. The later two not that much, but it is a bit of damage reduction, so I guess it would help. On the Vengeance stage, every time you kill an enemy, the rest of the enemies will grow, giving them additional attack damage, ability power, armor, magic resistance and health. They will grow bigger every time you kill another enemy, so the effect can stack. To avoid this, you want to distribute damage evenly, so you can kill multiple heroes at once. This will only trigger the growth effect once for the remaining heroes. To make it easier to distribute damage evenly, you can use Zoe or an Evoke and Crash to gather the enemies, and possibly also use a Leon, because as long as you keep taunting the enemies with the Leon ultimate, they will not really move from their position. The most important and most useful hero for this stage is Ingrid. With the Ingrid trick you can make it so that your own heroes grow instead of the enemies. You don't need a strong Ingrid. For this a grey one would be enough. The only important thing is that her ultimate is maxed, so it has a higher hit rate on the enemies. That will make it easier for you to pull the trick off, otherwise it will be very hard. Although it is a bit outdated and not the best way to do it anymore, I still want to give credit to the video Archangel did a while ago. He explained the basics very well and why it works. I will link this video in the description and also put it in the info box in the top right corner. Give it a watch, and if you're interested in how it works and why it works, you can see it there. I'll not go into detail about that in this video. Now, like I said, the method Archangel shows in this video is not the best way to do it anymore, as it will cause only one of your heroes to grow. The way you want to do it is you wait until multiple enemy heroes are low, and then you swap in your Ingrid and use your ultimate on one hero with a lot of health. Preferably on Karas, he seems to work best with that. After that, you finish off the enemy heroes that were low as quick as possible, and that will trigger the effect to reverse and your heroes to grow instead of the enemies. If Ingrid's ultimate fails, don't restart the run, you can keep trying. As you see in this try, I didn't manage to swap in Ingrid in time, which resulted in Zoe dying and giving the enemies one growth, before I eventually pulled off the trick on the second try. But even if she fails completely, swap her out and swap some damage in. Sometimes you can still manage to beat the stage even without the Ingrid trick. The death stage is separated in two phases. At the start of the battle, the enemies are all immune to physical damage. After they die, they get resurrected and are now immune to magic damage. It is also important to mention that during the battle, banelings will spawn to attack your heroes. In the death stage, you don't really want any of the enemy heroes to cast any spells, therefore you want to keep them silenced and taunted at all times, as they can easily kill your whole team if they get to cast. Doing this also has the nice side effect that the banelings don't spawn, and it is possible to finish the whole stage without any banelings spawning. The easiest way to do this is again to gather them with either Zoe or an Evoking Crash. After that you can keep taunting them with Leon. Alternatively you can use an Ezra, or if you have, you can also use Alistia. The best heroes to silence the enemies are Sonics and Pyre. Three alternatives would be Blaine and maybe a Medea with skin. I haven't tried the last two though, so if someone can try that, let me know in the comments if it worked. You can also use heroes like Muse to stun and stop the enemies from casting. If you're a physical user, it will be hard to get enough damage through to pass this stage. A good hero for magic damage output, if you're a physical user, is Pandorus paired with an Aurora. These two can put out a lot of damage. It also doesn't hurt to put effort in to build at least one mage. A good option here would be Patra or Teresa if you're willing to spend a bit. The last trick about the death stage I want to share with you is that you can skip the entire physical immunity stage. You need to use a hero that has the keywords denying healing in his ultimate description to do this reliably. Heroes for this would be Actaeon, Awoken Luke or Awoken Ovid. Ulting any of these heroes while enemies are about to enter the physical immunity stage will result in them going into said stage with very low health, at which point they can just be finished off by any physical heroes or maybe even your Leon. But it's always safer to swap on a physical hero to finish it off. The destruction stage is explained pretty easily. You need to kill 30 enemies, that's it. However, as easy as it sounds, it can be quite challenging, especially in the higher stages. But there's one easy way to deal with it. All you need is a Tartarus. It doesn't matter whether the Tartarus is grey, golden or red. You don't need any skills evolved. All you need to do is to keep your Tartarus alive for at least 3 ultimates. That should be enough. The reason why is that whenever Tartarus ults, he spawns little souls from every enemy he hits. So obviously you want to hit as many enemies as possible. Those souls count as enemies, so they also count towards the 30 kills, which will allow you to pass the stage pretty easily. To get these 3 ultimates off, especially with a weaker Tartarus, can be quite challenging. So what you want to do, as soon as the battle starts, you obviously channel the first ultimate. Then you use Twiller to recharge Tartarus' energy to full, to ult a second time. And then if Tartarus dies, you put in a Sebastian to revive Tartarus and let Tartarus ult a third time. If you do not have a Twiller, you can alternatively use Leon to keep the enemies taunted, so they attack Leon instead of Tartarus. Additionally, again, a Ethereal Shield or a Cold Shield will come in handy to keep Tartarus alive. Your focus in the energy stage is gonna be on Alma. You will not regenerate any energy in the stage. At some point, Alma's gonna summon 3 ghosts, which will result in her not taking any damage until they are killed. After they are killed, Alma will start casting a skill. If you interrupt said skill, your heroes will get their energy fully restored. Usually, going into the stage, you would already start with 0 energy on all your heroes. This can be avoided by putting Ingrid in your starting lineup. Her shield will allow your heroes to not be affected by the energy drain and keep them at full energy. You should use them quickly though, as the energy still gets drained after a little bit. As I said, interrupting Alma's cast is important. To do that, you can use equipments like Leech, Quiver, Caustic Quiver, Mace, 10 Tons, or Raiden Eye. Force Book and Burnout Book should also work, but it will be hard to have your mages in range to actually use them on Alma. Alternatively, you can swap in new heroes to interrupt her skill. For example, for physical users you can use Zoe, Pearl, or Sue. Examples for magical users are Crash, Medea, or Blaine. After you did that, your energy gets restored and you can activate your ultimate again. You should do it as quickly as possible though, because after a while, again, it will be drained. After that, it's just a matter of waiting until Alma casts again and repeat the process. While the main focus in this stage is on Alma, you should also always keep an eye on Thanos, as one ultimate of him can kill your whole team, especially if you do not have a good flint. So you might want to kill Thanos as soon as possible and also cancel his ultimates if you can. If you found this video to be helpful, feel free to drop a like down below, also comment if there's anything I missed. And consider subscribing. Bye!